Hey guys, I figured I'd just make a video of kind of what we've done through chapter 2 and 3. Just giving you guys more resources here to study from, and hopefully encourage you to, you know, keep practicing on your own. I want to give you as many of my personal resources to you because, A, you've been coming to class, you kind of see how I teach. So you will have more connected statements that you can relate to when I give the examples versus if you go to YouTube and try and find someone else, which there's a ton of good stuff on YouTube, and I highly recommend you also go look that way. But, I know a lot of people are more comfortable with, what's going to be on the test, what am I going to be testing on. You may not necessarily want to know a whole bunch of extra stuff, but you should check out other resources as well. So in Visual Studio 2010, this is how you would go about creating a new project and all that stuff. So File, New Project, Win32 console under the Visual C++ here. So once we get here, we're going to go, sample project. We can create a directory, that's fine. Click Next, unchecked precompiled headers, click Empty Project, then click Finished. Under the source files, right click and add new item. We're going to add a new C++ file. We're going to call it main because it'll be our main C file. Okay, so from this point, you were quizzed on a general template of what a C program looks like. So that would be the preprocessor. The one we use right now is stdio.h. But in your first homework, we're going to need to add math.h as well. So that's how you would add an extra preprocessor. And then we'll go ahead and just add the main function here and its return statement. And that's your basic template that you'll find. Especially the IDEs or the integrated development environments will auto-generate this for you because it's a standard. So we're just going to do simple user input and output. User input in general, and output. So remember that's for the input, scanf and printf. Then we're also going to talk about declaring variables and defining them. Then some arithmetic and if-else structures, while loops, stuff like that. And I'll try and cater it toward your first assignment here. So user input and output kind of comes after declaring variables, but all of this design needs to be thought of ahead of time. Once you're given the problem, you'll need to figure out what variables you need. So in the first homework assignment, you're taking input from the user, specifically float numbers, right? And computing the average, min, max, and standard deviation. So in the assignment, I gave you an example of 4 input, so I'll just do that. So I've declared my variables here. Declared variables. We're going to define them in the user input, right? So whenever we need to get input from the user, we need to tell the user, we need to prompt the user for input. So we need to use printf and tell the user, please enter in a floating point value. And then you can test that out to see if it compiles. Control F5. I had build errors, that's fine. Click no, so it doesn't try and automatically run one that worked before. So link 1123, file validator corrupt, invalidator corrupt. So I click on my main CVP, make sure I'm there. Project, it'll have the name of my project, properties. So under configuration properties, and is this a linker issue? I think so. Enable incremental linking. We want to say no. Click apply, click OK, and I'll try to run it again, Control F5. Please enter a floating point value. There you go. So now we want to actually wait, or have the program wait for the user to enter in values and then store them into a variable. So don't forget your ampersand for this one. Remember, D is for integers, right? Floating point values require %f. So now, in order to see that it was truly saved there, we can use the printf statement and say v1 is set to, and then print that value out. Remember, inside of these parentheses are what's called parameters, or input values, for the printf function. So the first input is this string, second input is this variable. No ampersand needed for this one. So let's try it. Do 37.5. There it is. V1 is set to 37.5. So we need to do that 3 more times. So we just need to be careful when we copy paste to change everything that is appropriate here. So like the variable names. You don't want to accidentally assign the wrong variable the wrong value. And as you can see, I numbered that incorrectly, so I'm going to take this one out. And put it here. And then you got to make sure your output matches as well. So don't forget your printf when you change it here. So let's try that. We'll do 1.0. 2.0, 3.0, 4.4, and there you go. V1, V2, V3, and V4. Output looks nice, and each have their own values. Okay, so now we have our inputs from the user. So if you're using a resource like IDE1.com, you can't use scanf to, you know, have the user set the value themselves. So what you can do is manually set or define the variables. I'm just going to comment out the scanf functions and manually set these values. Like so. So v1 equals 1.1. Comment that out. v2 equals 2.25. I'm just making these up. But they are float values. And v4 equals 4.4444. Something like that. Okay, let's give it a try. Okay, got an error here. It's probably v3 is being used without being initialized. Okay, great. Let's see what's up with that. So I'm going to hit abort, close this. So V3 is getting used here, but guess what? This needs to be V3. That means throughout all this code, from where it was declared all the way down, V3 wasn't set to anything. So when you're trying to access that variable, it has nothing to give you, because you never defined it. So now let's give it a try that we fixed it. Okay, great. Notice it still prompts, but since the user doesn't enter in anything and press enter, it's all on the same line.